Jackson said the obvious question that one must ask is, who does it serve to have the gag clause remain? Who does it serve to have Section 56(1) remain, where routine public information such as the government contract award database, which had previously been publicly accessible, is now withheld due to restrictive confidentiality clause? Blessings ABR family and viewers, welcome back to the channel. It's your girl Isabel Rose, and in this one, civil groups clap back at government senator over gag clause in the IC Act, as well as JAMBAR questions the absence of the CCJ as the final court from the constitutional reform bill. Stay tuned for the details at hand. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Notification shout out goes to Jerry Sattler. Big up yourself, Jerry. Thanks for the continued support. So, kicking off the first segment, more on Clause 53.3 of the Integrity Commissions Act as it pertains to the gag clause that's been placed on the Integrity Commission as to not give any updates on investigation until a report has been tabled in Parliament. Now we're seeing the government Senator Shireen Golden make a remark against the civil bodies and other bodies who stated that the gag clause should be removed from the Integrity Commissions Act and allow the Integrity Commission to make public updates as to an investigation and not only wait until the report is tabled. And she went on to say that the civil groups who ask that the clause be removed does not represent the 2.8 million people in the Caribbean. And so while that is true, I do believe that the civil groups are working on behalf of the people, and they must have done surveys in order to give their input. And the civil groups are the bodies that represent the people, and if they're not giving the people a chance, then the civil groups are the ones who are put in place to listen to the voices of the people and then to give their input to Parliament. And so her statement right there does not really make any sense to me. However, I'm going to let you listen to what she said and then the remarks of the civil groups.
I know the comments that have been sent in to us, and I take note. We have comments from the Ministry of Finance, we have comments from the PSOJ, and we have comments from 1, 2, 3, 4 civil society groups, JFJ, LANS, JAMB, NIA. We have comments from BEST FM, and we have comments from the Permanent Secretaries Board. And I want to make the point, Chair, while the submissions from these groups are well appreciated, as a legislator and sitting in the chair having to deliberate and contribute to the decision of the committee, I am still very conscious that these groups who have submitted to the committee do not represent all 2.8 million people in the country. And in fact, they don't even necessarily represent the officials who are the public officials, and I can't remember is it 100,000? I might be wrong on the number, who are impacted by the provisions of this act and the decisions that we make in this committee and later in the Houses of Parliament. So I want to be very careful that while I hold my own personal view, one, I don't want to insert my personal view. It must be guided by best practice, etc. But I also want to say, Chair, that the submissions are matters to persuade us in a particular direction, but that we still have an obligation to consider wholly the matters before us, so that we're not substituting for our personal view, which is a danger we wish to guard against, the views of another particular entity, without a broad consideration of the act, the intent of the act, the international best practice in terms of anti-corruption practices and agencies in jurisdictions that we consider worthy of emulating, and also that we read the legislation and we note the opining of the courts, the relevant courts to our jurisdiction. So I don't have well, my own personal view was that I was not open at a point to the removal of Section 53(3). I think I have said so publicly before.
So in response, we've seen the Executive Director of Jamaicans for Justice, that's JFJ, Michael Jackson, urging lawmakers to amend the legislation that is silencing the Integrity Commission during their probes. She stated that the Integrity Commission is the only anti-corruption agency in Jamaica under a legislative gag preventing it from commenting on investigations until a formal report is presented to the Parliament. As well, calling for the gag clause to be removed is the Financial Investigations Division, which probes money laundering and financial crimes. Jackson quoted, "Having listened to some lawmakers, we are concerned that there is potential for self-serving legislation. Laws and their application must be equitable." The gag clause is anti-ethical to transparency. Jackson said the obvious question that one must ask is, who does it serve to have the gag clause remain? Who does it serve to have Section 56(1) remain, where routine public information such as the Government Contract Award database, which had previously been publicly accessible, is now withheld due to restrictive confidentiality clause? Who is served by these restrictive clauses? Jeanette Calder, the Executive Director of the Jamaica Accountability Meter Portal, JAMB, and Daniel Archer, the Director of National Integrity Action, both agreed that civil society organizations do not represent the views of all Jamaicans. However, Calder emphasized that they play a crucial role in contributing valuable insights to the legislative process, even without having the endorsements of the entire population. If the Parliament were to be guided by the kernel of the Senator's argument, then at no time in Jamaica's past, present, or future would citizens satisfy such a threshold and be able to share their concerns, perspectives, and research findings in the legislative process. Calder criticized the idea that civil society groups only represent a narrow viewpoint, stating that they often conduct focus group studies and surveys to ensure their contributions reflect a wide range of perspectives. For example, she stated in 2022, JAMB conducted a survey that found 66% of respondents were aware of the IC as an anti-corruption body, and 40% of them were aware of the gag clause. Nearly half of those familiar with the clause supported giving the IC the ability to share information during investigations, and that was shared with the Joint Select Committee in October 2022. So that is enough evidence right there. So they were made aware of this poll finding by JAMB. But yet still she's coming out to talk about the civil groups don't represent the 2.8 million people in Jamaica, when they are not giving the people a chance to voice their concerns on these matters. So these are the bodies who represents the wider society and are doing their surveys out there and reporting back to the parliament. But they want to come in our parliament and behave as if they don't know what is going on. Now Daniel Archer claps at the senator and says, how does this singularly appointed senator propose to hear the voice of the people when those elected received only 21% of the majority vote and altogether only 37% voted for either party? No party can claim to represent the views of all 2.8 million Jamaicans. Talk up, Archer. She noted that civil groups consist of individuals who are just as much a part of the society as elected and non-elected parliamentarians. Therefore, they have the right to express their opinions and have their voices be heard. Archer also directed a number of questions to the senator. Does her stance suggest that elected officials only represent the views of those who voted for them and not those who abstained from voting or supported the losing party? How does she plan to engage with and understand the opinions of the broader public? Have parliamentarians actively consulted with their constituents and communicated the people's views, or have they prioritized their self-interest in their voting decisions? Archer also wants to know whether parliamentarians perceive the public as fool or better yet, uninformed. Have legislators elevated themselves above the people they serve, believing their views to be more important than those of the citizens they are meant to represent? And those are some very serious and very important questions that our lawmakers, before them come in our parliament, come run off their mouth. Are they giving the people a chance to voice their concerns? Are they going into their constituencies and asking the people important questions such as these? Now in this segment we see in JAMBAR, that's the Jamaica Bar Association President Kevin Powell, questioning the absence of the Caribbean Court of Justice, that's the CCJ, from the Constitutional Reform Bill being reviewed by Parliament. And my question here, before we going to hear what this president is really asking about, is look how long this reform bill here have been circulating in the public space. I did a video on it when it was, put out on the Jamaica website, and I sent it to quite a few persons who asked for it on this channel. And from them time till now, why some of them entities here are so slow to act and slow to respond? From before the People's National Party even raised these concerns of impeachment and the final court of appeal not being in this so-called first phase, as what the government saying. Why JAMBAR never come out in a them very same time there and come and ask about the final court? It is obvious that this government don't even want to move from the Privy Council as the final court. Them seems to be having some vendetta against the CCJ. For whatever reason, I am not sure. But wanna be vigilant now. Some of these groups need to come out and be vigilant and stop wait until last minute to come and ask about these questions. This constitution reform bill here has been tabled in the parliament, right? The People's National Party has raised many concerns to which go unnoticed same way, as according to what I am seeing. And I know JAMBAR want come ask these questions. Hear what the president has said anyways.
We're actually right now reviewing the latest bill, and the intention is to put forward our comments on the content. We touch on an issue which is very relevant to JAMBAR, given our position on the CCJ, which is the absence of anything to do with the CCJ in that bill. That's a concern that we have and that we would raise. I think it's a very important process. It would be good if we were moving at a faster pace, but I understand that it will require a lot of collaborative effort, and I think it's not something that we can also rush.
So the government is basically saying that they will, tackle the whole final court of appeal in the second phase of the Constitution Reform Bill. Right? And so, I would really want to hear from you, fellow ABR family, fellow Jamaicans, viewers. Drop on the comments in the comment section. Tell me what you think about everything that was outlined in this video. Tell me what you think about what the senator is saying, that the civil groups don't represent all. Right? And wanting of her personal view to keep the gag clause in the Integrity Commissions Act, when majority of us are calling for that gag clause to be removed all to complete, so that we can have more transparency from the Integrity Commission and from the whole government body, so to speak. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel on the road to 30K and beyond. Help me to get there. Get this video to at least 5,000 likes. Stay tuned for more videos. Stay tuned for more updates. Big up on yourselves. Thanks for the continued support.